Historical Fiction Reads. Hi, I'm Gary Lovisi, and now I'm going to talk about some historical fiction novels that I've read recently that I think are really, really good, and I recommend them to you. And they may not have been something that you'll know about. Even if you read historical adventure fiction, you may not be aware of these books. And certainly, if you don't read any historical fiction, if you read science fiction, or if you read mystery or crime books, you'll also like these books because the history and the stories in them are really, really well done. This is basically to coincide with my book Modern Historical Adventure Novels, which I wrote in 2006 and or 2003, and it has all of the adventure, Hornblower, Patrick O'Brien, Bernard Cornwell, and various other, all kinds of these series for the historical adventure novels. Flashman, everything in this book. This book came out in 2003. Now these books, there's two is a series by P.J. Nagel. Is it J. Nagel?
G.
P.G. Nagel, yeah. And then this one, this one here, the Ides. Actually, it's not the Ides, it's the Ides, which is based on the Ides of March, which is March 15th, which was when Julius Caesar was assassinated in Rome, ancient Rome. So it's the Ides. But what I'm going to do is talk about a little bit of, first about the P.G. Nagel books. There's 4 of them. It's a Civil War series. And it's an interesting series because unlike all the other Civil War series that you read, most of them take place in Virginia. They take place at in battles, Chancellorsville, Petersburg, Appomattox, or Gettysburg, or all of those famous battles, or in the West, which was the Western theater of the Civil War, which was Vicksburg, Tennessee, the Mississippi River, and all of that. This is even wester than that. This is far west. This is west of Texas. This is taking place, the first 2 books take place in New Mexico territory, which includes New Mexico and Arizona. And very, very interesting on how the Civil War was played out and done in New Mexico territory at that time. Because what happened was the Texans were moving west to take over New Mexico and Arizona, and from the far west, California and Colorado volunteers were coming south and east to fight for the Union, whereas the Texans were fighting for the South. So there was, and it's very Western themed kind of stories and fiction, and it's really good series. First one is Glorieta Pass, which was a major battle. The Guns of Valverde is the second one. This is from 1999, and the series went from 1999 to 2000 and 2003. These are the original first edition forged hardcovers. Here's a photo of the author, P.G. Nagel. She's a resident of New Mexico. Very good series. The first book starts off, and it has 4 characters: Alistair O'Brien, Jamie Russell, Charles Franklin, and Laura Howland. It follows the stories of these 4 people, and one of them continues through all 4 books. These take place in New Mexico, and it's just an amazing, interesting story about how the war was fought in the far west, basically in the cowboy kind of era, but the Civil War was even in the west out there, and it's very amazing. And then in the next 2 books, Galveston and Red River, you have the war moves to Texas, down on the rivers, the Red River, the Mississippi River, Vicksburg, and areas in Texas. This is a really good series of books. Couple of the characters follow through all four books. There's some really interesting characters that she writes about. Some of the women characters are very interesting. The guys, there's a guy that fights for the North, for the Union. He's a volunteer from Colorado, who comes from the mines in Colorado, comes down south to New Mexico to fight for the Union. There's a guy who's a rancher who comes from a family of ranchers, and he wants to join to fight for the South, and he goes out west to fight for them. And there's all these stories of this is almost like a kind of a Gone with the Wind for the West series. I mean, it's really good. Now, I want to take you to one other book that I recommend, the Ides, or the Ides, as it properly. This is the story of the murder of Julius Caesar. This is by Stephen Dando Collins. Now, Dando Collins is a very interesting author because previous to this, well, he's a ancient Rome historian who previous to this wrote 4 books about the various Roman legions and their major actions during the wars in the Roman Empire. So he's written, and then this book is from 2010. If I can find it. Okay. So he wrote Caesar's Legion, the epic saga of Julius Caesar's elite 10th Legion in the armies of Rome, Nero's killing machine, the true story of the 14th Legion, Cleopatra's kidnappers, the 6th Legion, and Mark Antony's heroes, the 3rd Galatia Legion. He's done novels that are studies of those legions and the characters and all the people that fought. And then what he did in this book was basically go through almost in some cases a day-by-day story about, and it's told in a novel form of what happened during March, April, May, and the time before and after Caesar was assassinated, and how it was done, what happened, and it's fascinating. It's a fascinating story. If you like ancient Roman history, if you're a historian, history buff, you're going to love these. I recommend them really highly. I know this isn't the kind of thing I usually do on my channel because I do paperback, vintage paperback kind of stuff. But I also like to clue you in on books that I recommend really highly and that may be neglected or maybe not known as well as they should be. And so I think that these are really good if you like historical fiction, if you like really good stories about the Civil War era or the ancient Rome. And with that in mind, I just want to thank you for looking, and we'll see you next time.